The Ethereum ETF is right around the corner as the price of Ethereum is starting to rise. How will the Ethereum ETF play out? Will it be like Bitcoin, which saw a drawdown of around 20% leading into the ETF and post-ETF? What kind of selling should we expect from Grayscale? How much money in ETH do they really have? We're going to take a look at that. Also, TradFi and Wall Street has bought the dip on the last Bitcoin price correction down to $53,000 as ETF flows are almost at $300 million yet again. Will this trend continue? We have some Solana news. We're going to take a look at some token unlocks, the markets. What are we looking at? And a interesting Toncoin partnership. Which layer 2 blockchain do they partner with to build their own layer 2? We'll have that discussion and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin hasn't moved much. Ethereum starting to gain some traction, over $3,000 again.
Wow.
ETF around the corner.
Wow.
This is your last chance to get a slice of the pie before we
Eat the pie.
eat the pie, yeah. It's all about it. There you go.
What is your favorite pie?
My favorite pie? I'm gonna go with, I do like a good apple pie. I used to like the pecan pie, but it's just too
about
too
pumpkin
gummy now. Absolutely not. Disgusting. Okay. Absolutely disgusting. It's the color of Bitcoin though.
Speaking of ETFs, the ETH ETF is around the corner. This from Watcher Guru. All spot Ethereum ETF applicants filed their updated S1s. The S1, once it gets approved, is essentially the, you're ready to trade on Wall Street. We've had the 19B4s approved, just waiting on the S1s from the SEC, including Fidelity, Van Eck, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, Grayscale, and of course, Big Daddy BlackRock. Now, this from James Seyffert. The Ethereum ETF filings are pouring in. Now, if you remember, everyone's nervous about Grayscale, right? We saw what they did with the Bitcoin ETF, right? They kept their fee. They dropped their fee from 2.5 to 1.5%, which is a pretty big drop. It's a lot of revenue, correct? The problem was their competitors had dropped it to like a fifth of that, 0.2%, 0.25%. So what did Grayscale do? A few months after their ETF went live for Bitcoin, they created a mini Bitcoin spot ETF in hopes that people that are leaving the main ETF because of the high fees, instead of taking it to like BlackRock, Fidelity, or Van Eck, they would just put it into another Grayscale product that was brand new that has much lower fees. Well, with the Ethereum one, they already are going to have this in place. So what kind of effect is that going to have on the Grayscale selling of Ethereum? Because we know the NAV was not quite as big as Bitcoin's, right? The discount from the price and the value, but there was still a discount at some point. You got to figure people bought that and people are going to realize some of those gains. But hopefully it won't be just outflows, dump on the market. It'll go into their other product, which is cheaper, which is why you see here 2 Grayscale trusts. One is their Ethereum trust and the other is an Ethereum mini trust. Now, how much ETH does Grayscale really have? Do you know the answer to this? If you were to guess.
I remember looking at it a while ago. It's pretty substantial. And
Around 3 million Ethereum.
Yeah. And, when you looked at the size of the Bitcoin wallet that they had prior to the ETF going live and how much percentage that was from the total circulating supply of Bitcoin, and you look at their Ethereum wallet compared to the total circulating supply, it's pretty comparable. And was that where you're getting at?
Well, I was going to say it's $8.8 billion, which we know for their Bitcoin ETF, the Bitcoin holdings was around 26 billion, right?
Yeah, but if you take into the market cap, if you take in
of the coins,
if you take a percentage of market cap, how much market cap did Grayscale hold prior to the Bitcoin ETF in Bitcoin? The percentage is comparable to how much Ethereum they hold in comparison to the market cap as far as percentage. So could we see a similar drawdown as far as a sell-off getting the price of Ethereum to market? Because you got to remember, they got to take all of that Ethereum and sell enough of it to balance the price that they have. So yeah, I just think of it this way. You have one market, which is their trust, which is priced in at one price, and then we call the discount or the premium. And then you have the market price. Market price is $3,057. Well, if Ethereum is trading at $4,000, or let's just say $3,300, they have to sell enough of their Ethereum to balance the price out, right? To get an equilibrium. And that's what we saw with Bitcoin. We're anticipating the same thing is going to happen with Ethereum. But that was short-lived in the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? It wasn't long before, you had so much inflows, you had so many buyers on the sidelines that even though Grayscale was selling, we saw some red days early on, particularly the first week. It didn't take long for, Wall Street investors and traditional money to essentially flip the negative into a positive. And we know what happened. Bitcoin ETF launched at 40,000, 44,000, dropped down to 40, and then just rallied all the way up to a new all-time high, almost a 2x. And so I would anticipate you're going to get the same thing here out of the ETH, a little drawdown. Maybe we go down to $2,700, but I do think that by this time next week, I think we'll be over 3,500, but $1 Ethereum, maybe $4,000 Ethereum. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No?
I think we'll be under 3,000
next week.
Yeah. I think the market sentiment, I don't think there's as much hype with the Ethereum ETF as we saw with the Bitcoin ETF. You take a look at the run-up Bitcoin had, and let's just take a look at the chart here. So towards the end of last year is when we really saw rumors, news, speculation that Bitcoin was getting an ETF. And let's just say this happened around, let's just say November 15th, right? Leading up to the launch of the ETF, Bitcoin gained around 33% in value for the price. And you take a look at what has Ethereum done since then. It did have a little bit of a rally up to that $3,500 level, and then the market's just completely nuked. And so this was it right here, right? May 20th, we saw a rally of around close to 30%, but it kind of gave it all back. When we go back to Bitcoin, we didn't give it all back. We started giving it back when the ETF went live. We've given up all those gains on ETH before the ETF went live. So are we going to see something similar, which I was going to talk about this in a little bit, but let's talk about it now. In this box is the beginning of the box is when the ETF went live for Bitcoin, and at the end of it is when we started seeing a reversal. So this was 2 weeks that we lost around 18.5, let's call it 20% for round numbers for BTC. And then BTC went on a massive rally to claim all-time highs. I expect something similar, maybe not a 20% drawdown, maybe a 10 to 12% drawdown on ETH, which at current prices right now would bring us down to, let's call it $2,700. I kind of think that's where we are. That's just my personal opinion. Going back on as far as now, these two products are not the same. We talked about the Bitcoin premium for Grayscale and the selling. Grayscale with the Bitcoin ETF did not have that mini trust in place when it went live, but with ETH they do. So are we going to see people left Grayscale because of A, they made the money, they want to take their profits, cool, or B, the fees were too high and they decided just not to buy into any other ETF because we have cash creates instead of in kind. So I can't just remove my Bitcoin from Grayscale and put it in my Bitcoin in BlackRock. I have to cash it out, pay taxes, and then put it back into another product. And some people just didn't want to do that. Now you have an adjacent product in the mini ETF from Grayscale. Your thing has always been, why would people stick with Grayscale? Well, they've been around the longest, right? 2013, they're crypto native, Bitcoin native people that have a track record of handling client money, right? And so if that's the case, again, with ETH, could the drawdown be less because of this adjacent product? Potentially, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I think that I lean towards the side that next week will be at 35, $3,500 Ethereum and beyond, right? I think that there's going to be a tremendous upside. I think that people are underestimating the liquidity that this is going to bring in and the investor interest. I mean, there's a lot of people that made money on Bitcoin, and well, Bitcoin is really just consolidated. It's traded sideways for months. People have made money on Bitcoin, and you know what? They're probably looking at Ethereum and saying, "Here's another opportunity to get into a." Here's another opportunity to get into another crypto, another very, very popular crypto that's been around for a while. We're not talking about, I mean, you could sit here and say the Solana's like a flash in the pan. It's overheated. It ran a lot. But the thing is there's no disputing the track record of Ethereum, its market dominance, and the fact that it's, has venture capital interest, highly positioned. And you know what? The venture capital, they are kind of all in on Ethereum. The crypto institutional money is in on Ethereum. And I think that what you're going to see is that institutional money in TradFi that has a position on Bitcoin is going to diversify. If anything, they're going to look at Bitcoin and be like, you know what, this is consolidating. It's probably going to still be in this range for a while, at least through the summer. What's my next play here? I can sit on my hands on Bitcoin, or I can try to follow what happened with Bitcoin and turn a quick profit on Ethereum. I think it's a no-brainer. But I'll say this, regardless of what happens, this is a less, it's a more illiquid market, right? There's not as deep order books as Bitcoin, obviously. You go on an exchange, Bitcoin's order books are massive, even on the smallest exchanges. Ethereum pales in comparison. The books are not that deep. Now they're strong, but they're not on Bitcoin level, not even close. So if we do get that drawdown, if we do get that sell off that you're saying, if we do see a big sell off, I don't think it's going to be down to just simply 28. I think that we get a short 28 and then we rally, right? I think we get an initial sell, but I think that traditional money comes in. But I'll say this. If we do get a prolonged sell, Grayscale, because of the lack of liquidity in comparison to Bitcoin, which with whales in Wall Street, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing drop down to $1,900. I think that the volatility is going to be massive. Now, at the same time, I do think so. I think there's two scenarios. I think ETH goes to $1,900 within the next 3 weeks if the downside scenario plays out. But I also think that within 2 to 3 weeks, ETH could easily be over 4,000. And that's the direction I think that we're going to go. If I had to position myself, is Bitcoin going to go sub 2,000 or over 4,000? I lean over 4,000 because people have made money on Bitcoin and they know that ETH is the next product. And it's simply said, there's just less liquidity in the markets, so it takes less amount of money to make the price of Ethereum move. And so it's either going to go down to sub 2,000 or over 4,000 within the next 2 to 3 weeks. What do you think about that?
Potentially. I was looking at what the OTC ETH supply looks like over the counter, right? And I couldn't find anything. But one of us is going to be right. It's either gonna pump or it's going to go down. I think over the long term. And here's the other thing, right? We saw BlackRock more recently allocate some of their own Bitcoin ETF to their certain funds, their global money fund, their, I forget the name of the other ones. There's like 2 or 3 funds where they included the Bitcoin ETF, for which they have to go out and buy it, their own ETF. Are they going to do something similar with Ethereum? Or is Ethereum going to have, they're going to have their name thrown in the ring as well to be added to some of these BlackRock funds? We know how tied BlackRock is to Ethereum in terms of, hey, they got money on chain. They're building on Ethereum. They're building a stock exchange in Texas. We know for sure it's going to have some sort of blockchain integration, tokenization. And we know, looking at what they've done, Ethereum is their chosen layer 1 to run all of their tokenized assets on. And so I think you have a lot more potential positive or reasons why people should be buying Ethereum or would be buying Ethereum. You mentioned one of them is, hey, look what happened with Bitcoin. Went from 48 to 70K. Great. Perfect. Can we see something similar with ETH? Not to mention, Ethereum's supply is deflationary once the usage outpaces the growth of the coins, right? Or the inflation of the coin. So you have a lot of things going for it, not to mention everything else happening, the RWA, the sector, yada, yada, yada. I think it would have been a lot more pronounced if staking was involved, because who knows? We're seeing 0.25% fees on these ETFs. Could we have seen zero? Imagine the second largest cryptocurrency getting that massive upside without having to pay a single percentage in fees because they're making it on the back end with staking.
Or if instead of you take a 0% fee, but then imagine you get paid out for it as well, though.
Right.
And I don't know exactly where it is. I believe it's in Europe. They do have an ETF or a product where you hold the Ethereum, or someone else holds it for you. And then instead of you paying for the custodial services, they're actually paying you because they're staking it on the back end. So it's interesting. Let me ask you. So if you had to take one side or the other, you had to pick one side of the coin. You think that Ethereum 3 weeks from now is 1,900 or 4,200? What is more likely to you? What do you think 3 weeks from now? So let's just say August 1st.
4,200.
4,200?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the same camp.
Yeah.
I think August 1st we're over 4,000.
Yeah. I think sub 2K would be really hard. Especially, I mean, look what happened with Bitcoin, right? Let's just jump right in. Bitcoin had a drawdown down to 53,000, and what did we see? We literally saw inflows just switch. Negative, zero, $120 million day, and then 73, 11, 21, 31, and then outflow. And look at the last 2 days, Robin, as the price of Bitcoin has dipped under $55,000, $143 million of inflows on Friday, and $300 million of inflows yesterday. So this shows you that the people on Wall Street, when they see these big price dips, they're going to scoop them up. They're going to scoop up these dips, and I don't see why Ethereum would be any different. I think if it got down to 2,500 and the ETF is live, they would buy the dip. Definitely if it got down to 2,000. And so I don't think 1,900 is probable. Of course, anything can happen. But yeah, I'm more on the 4,200.
If the buyers on Wall Street don't come in and you get that grayscale selling, it's going sub 2,000. No doubt about it. I mean, the lack of that depth in the order books with Ethereum, the fact that, well, it doesn't have that volume that it had last bull market, right? Now, I think that the volume that it had last bull market will come back. I think that the ETF will create some buzz, but it's going to be very interesting. There's going to be a ton of sell pressure. Now, whether or not there's enough buy pressure on the other end, or if the buy pressure is grossly over expected, if you get a massive amount of buys or buy orders or traditional money interest, maybe you get some traditional companies that are taking a position on Ethereum. Is it going to be enough to counterbalance the sell pressure from Grayscale? Because it's coming. It's coming. There's one thing I'm sure of, is that we're going to look at these inflows and outflows on the Ethereum chart, or on the Ethereum numbers for the ETFs, and Grayscale is going to be selling. And my question is when you have, $80 million in outflows in Grayscale for one day, and then 150 million outflows the next day, and then 220 million the next day, is there going to be enough buy on the other side? Is the BlackRock going to be half a billion dollars, or is it going to be 300,000 or $300 million? And is it going to be a net positive? That's my question, because it's going to be some volatility. It's going to make a massive move to either side. Now, I want to know, what does the chat think? What do you think is more likely? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that Ethereum by August 1st will be at $4,000. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that there's a lot of sell pressure, and, well, you know what? There's not that much interest in ETH anymore. And so by August 1st, you think there's going to be a $2,000 Ethereum. Put a 2 in the chat. 2 for 2,000, 1 for 4,000. I want to know what you guys think. Where's the price of ETH going to be in about 3 weeks?
Also, shout out to 3much Crypto with a little super chat. Said, love the channel, watching you guys since 10K subs. Keep up the good work and the cast content. 3much. We thank you very much for supporting this channel and watching us for a very, very long time. We appreciate you. We have a lot of people that have been with us for a while. You know, Brokyoshi, obviously Billy, and a bunch of you. I'm not going to go down this whole list of names, but thank you to all of you that support
And Rusty
this
Bot.
channel. And Rusty Bot. Yeah, your favorite bot, right? Everyone's favorite bot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't buy him though, did we? He just came on his own.
Yeah, he just
Okay.
popped up.
Interesting. I do want to give a big shout out to today's channel sponsor, which is Legacy Network. We will be bringing on their founder on the show over the next few weeks to talk about the amazing app that is going live. Join their Telegram to stay up to date on everything Legacy Network, where soon you'll be able to better yourself, make money, learn, all in a fun, gamified way. So big shout out to Legacy for sponsoring today's show. I'm going to share this chart here. This is posted by, let me give their credit here. Bunch of symbols. Follis. Okay, cool. Said ETH chart, comparing the Bitcoin weekly chart to the Ethereum weekly chart, drawing similarities here in the box. The only thing I'll note is that on the Bitcoin side on the left, we did make a higher high and a higher low. And on the ETH chart, we made a lower high, but a double bottom. And so, you know, this is at the point where Bitcoin went from around 25, 26K up past $50,000. Can we see the same? If the projections align and this thing does play out like the Bitcoin chart did, we could be seeing a $8,000 Ethereum, $7,500 Ethereum. I think eventually we're going to get there.
What do you think is going to be at by, say, October, November? I mean, towards the back half of the year, right when...
6 grand. 7 grand.
Six. That's it, huh? I'm sorry, man. This thing's gonna sky. Even if it does pull down, even if it goes down to that $1,900, even if it gets there, I think that once that grayscale selling is over, this thing's going to absolutely explode. And I mean, look no further than what it did last bull market. I mean, it went from sub $100. Past 4,000, and once this retail comes in, once you start really talking about smart contracts, you start talking about real world asset tokenization, when BlackRock really starts to use the Ethereum network and actually use it for its utility, and you know, have maybe a spot product where they're trading bonds or tokenized stocks or tokenized commodities, whatever, however they want to use the ETH network, that's coming. I don't for a second I don't for a second think that BlackRock is just blowing smoke and that they're trying to launch a product that ain't gonna catch on. Whatever product they use, that thing is gonna get used, right? Whatever they launch, that thing's gonna have a lot of users. People are gonna be using it, and if they're using the Ethereum network, if that's their base, my God, I'm telling you, like, I'm still, like, you know, I remember when ETH was at like $1,800. This was earlier this year. We were talking about $10,000 Ethereum by the end of the year. I got scoffed at, and I also said I think that it's going to top out at about $20,000. I remember that everyone was like, "Hey." Crazy talk. Well, 10,000 is really not that far away, right? 3x.
That's a 3x for a $400 billion asset.
Yeah, I mean, a year ago, Bitcoin's 3x for a $1.5 trillion asset.
It 3x to 1.5 trillion. Look, long term, you can't not be bullish on Ethereum, right? There's a reason these companies and asset managers like BlackRock are deciding to use Ethereum, and Ethereum tokens or Ethereum projects like Ondo that are launched. And so it's only a matter of time.
Okay. Every 10 minutes, there's 3.25 Bitcoin mined. If you just simply didn't even look at the deflationary nature of Ethereum, you just said, hey, let's just be neutral, right? If they're slightly deflationary, just slightly, then they're not creating tokens. And so on a playing field against Bitcoin, you have something that is inflating. Now, there is a hard cap supply on Bitcoin, so the inflation will end at some point. But Bitcoin is inflating. And I have no doubt from looking at history that Ethereum will be at minimum going into the back half of this year, be neutral and not inflationary. So, I mean, you have no miners, right? There's nobody creating. And if anything, I think they're going to be deflationary, removing supply. I don't.
Not only, here's the thing too, though. Not only is it not no miners and it being deflationary, but there's no overhead from miners. So there's no need to, I got my Epoch rewards. I have so much overhead I need to sell. Or, hey, I just mined some Ethereum. My power bill this month was $18,000. We need to sell the Bitcoin to stay ahead, right? Or to keep our overhead. So you have a lot of things going for it. But my main thing is, what's the market sentiment going to be like? Is like, we're assuming new money's going to come in. Are they going to take their 10% gains and sell? We've seen outflows from Bitcoin, but also same thing. If we do see those big dips, I think they're going to be gobbled up a lot faster. I do want to talk about, speaking of selling. So we now know that Germany's been slowly selling since June from around 52,000 Bitcoin. They've sold about half. Yesterday was a record-breaking day as they sent 16,000 Bitcoin to exchanges for selling. Now, I don't believe all of it got sold off. I believe 3,000 was returned from the exchanges to their wallets. But someone pointed this out, and if it comes to mind, I'll give them their credit. But they said it's funny that the biggest dump days for Germany has been on illiquid trading days. July 4th, the weekends, a Saturday, right? Why don't you dump when the markets are open? Or why don't you sell OTC? Or why don't you try to sell to the ETFs, right? They're looking to buy as inflows tick up. And so they're just dumping it on the order books.
I mean, how much of it? Here's the thing. Like, I still can't believe that Germany is going out and they have one person sitting at a computer doing limit sales.
They have 3 people.
No, and so, I mean, even if what I think is happening is that they're going to the exchanges, they're selling large chunks to the exchanges, and they need to generate revenue. So they're in turn, they're going and selling it on the order books. I think that's why we're seeing it, right? If they pull up to Binance, they're like, hey, you guys trying to pick up 3,000 Bitcoin? Well, maybe they don't have exactly $3,000 worth, or 3,000 Bitcoin worth. I don't know what the price is, cash on hand. So they're going to in turn go, hey, let's sell some Bitcoin here on the order books. And yeah, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. But I do think that the exchanges, I mean, we've seen the balances the balances for exchanges, and they were at all-time lows, or at least the lowest they've been since like 2016 or something.
Take a look at it.
Yeah. So take a look at that. And so I know that they're at a historical point, the exchanges for Bitcoin on hand. And so we're going into a bull market. What are exchanges? They need the ammunition, right? They know the bull market's coming. They see the ETF inflows. They almost ran out of Bitcoin. They almost ran out of Bitcoin on hand with the ETFs when that thing was ripping. And so they're gonna need to buy and store Bitcoin for their customers, right? If it's a holiday season and you're running a holiday, let's just say it's holiday season, you're running
In the green, real quick, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
The green is your balance on exchanges.
Yeah. See, they're
Pretty much at all-time lows.
Yeah. So back to the analogy, you got a retail store. Let's just say you got a GameStop or a Target or a Walmart or pick a retail store. What happens at Christmas season? You gotta stock up, right? You gotta get extra electronics. You gotta get extra PlayStation 5s. You gotta make sure you got the Lego aisle, stocked up, because there's gonna be a massive run. So you increase the inventory in September, October, maybe November. You can't do it no later than November. You can't wait till the last second, because what happens? All the competitors are gonna be picking up the PlayStations, right? And so the same thing is happening here, in my opinion. And so Germany, all they're doing is feeding the exchanges the ammunition they're going to need to provide the liquidity for this upcoming bull market. And so I don't look at it as a massive negative. And then you also got the likes of Michael Saylor and all.
Oh, they're
these
doing
ETF
us a favor. Is that what you're saying? Thanks, Robin.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know you were so pro Germany.
Yeah.
Ja, das ist ein guter Schlager. Ja. So,
You will love Germany food.
I would love German food. I
Yeah.
like German chocolate cakes. Coconut.
That's not even German, bro.
Um,
How many coconuts have you seen in Germany, Rocco? I'm just saying. So you said German chocolate cake with coconut. I'm just curious. And how many coconuts?
It's called imports.
Listen, at the Oktoberfest, that's this when you go to
Everybody
the
knows.
Everybody knows.
October is definitely coconut season.
Oktoberfest, with the beer and of course the chocolate.
October is coconut season, and the
Germany.
We had
the coconut trees in Germany are just
Good.
yeah.
Forget about the views
Right.
still, or the
Right.
the views.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Speaking of coconuts, Jerome Powell has spoken, as has Janet Yellen, and we'll show you a Janet Yellen clip, talk about cryptocurrencies and how she's not working with the SEC and Gary Gensler. Okay. So Jerome Powell had a press conference, says holding rates high for too long could jeopardize economic growth. Here we go, Robin. We're starting to see the tone start to change, okay? So this is a quote from Mr. Powell in his prepared remarks in green highlighted, quote, at the same time, in light of the progress made both in lowering inflation and in cooling the labor market over the past 2 years, elevated inflation is not the only risk we face. Reducing policy restraint too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment.
Stop the presses. Stop the presses.
There's no presses here, Robin. Whoa.
Bitcoin is
Whoa.
mooning. It just crossed
whoa.
58,000.
What's going on here? Is there news?
It's Sin City Crypto is live, and that is extremely bullish
I do.
for everything crypto. And what were you saying about Jerome Powell?
I have no idea. I'm just looking to see if there's any news here.
I did take just to take a quick peek. You can kind of just see here the movement on Bitcoin from 56, and I mean we started the show out at 57.4, and so you can see that he had this nice, pretty nice move here recently. I mean this thing, that's a what we like to call a vertical right there, a vertical line, right? Yeah. Nice big green candle.
So on the I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here. So on the 4-hour, the level that we really need to clear is 58.7. We can clear 58.7, right? And I don't care how high we go up. We'll probably come back and retest, as we saw here, right? We saw back here, this was June 30th. Just a straight shot break above, and 5 consecutive candles break above the cloud, come back and retest the top of it. It held on, and then spill off. I don't expect that to happen again. I actually expect this to break, retest, and then continuous trend upward. The next one after that, the next level after on the 4-hour we're looking at is right around 61.8. And so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, but Bitcoin currently hovering around 58K. But Rob, back to Mr. Powell. What are your thoughts?
So it sounds like we're going to get a rate cut, huh?
Sounds like we're going to get.
Yeah.
I was looking at CME, but CME hasn't really. Well, it changed a little bit.
Isn't there a meeting coming up at the end of the month?
July 31st.
You think that there's is there a chance?
I mean, okay. My question is, he's been pretty solid. He's been pretty steady in what he says. He says that, look at the data. We're going to look at the data. We're going to look at data. We want to see inflation at 2%. Now, all of a sudden, he comes out 3 weeks before the FOMC meeting.
That's what I'm saying.
But the CME doesn't reflect it. People, 95% still believe we're going to get a nothing burger. So no cut, no hike, just a pause. Interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how this changes. Inflation data does come out, I believe, tomorrow. Someone could fact check that,
if inflation comes in lower than expected, I wouldn't be surprised to finally see a Fed
pivot.
move that we wouldn't that kind of bucks the trend, right? CME expecting the rates to stay flat. The CMEs are expecting no rate cuts. But I think that the CME has been pretty spot on. I think they might fumble this one, right? Or we get in a scenario that like, and we've seen that before, where 2, 3, 4, 5 days before the Fed rate meeting, all of a sudden the pendulum swings, right? And they're not supposed to do a rate cut or a rate increase, and then all of a sudden it dramatically changes. Maybe some new insight. Maybe some whispers get out of the Fed's inner circle. Whatever the case may be, I think that the time is coming. We were expecting some rate cuts way earlier in the year. That did not come. And you know what? It sounds like we're getting a change of tone from the Fed. And I think that if we get a positive or a lower inflation number on the CPI, I think that Fed rate cut coming up end of the month. 31st.
Although rate cuts might not have came, Janet Yellen came to the Treasury in front of Digital Asset Committee, and she spoke about Bitcoin and crypto. Well, what does she have to say? Let's listen. This is Representative French Hill.
On another topic related to digital assets, the SEC and the CFTC are consistently taking opposite legal positions in federal court on digital assets. In your capacity as the Financial Stability Oversight Council leader, what are you doing to bring the CFTC and the SEC together and be on the same page about this matter?
Well, I mean, it's not the job of the Financial Stability Oversight Council to adjudicate
No, but you're supposed to
differences.
quarterback for financial risk. Are you quarterbacking between the CFTC and the SEC on this dispute?
Not really. Our view, we have done a
Okay, politicians, when they say not really, they're definitely doing more than not. Let's just put that other way. When they say not really, that's like plausible deniability. That's like not really. And then when you find out that they in fact have been communicating with the CFTC and the SEC and to do whatever the hell they've been doing, then come back and say, well, we weren't really. I mean, we did this, but it wasn't really like quarterbacking, Anyways, there's a few more seconds left of this. Let's just take a listen.
report on the risks connected with cryptocurrency and digital assets.
Right. In my
And
final-
our risks have to do with holes where there's a lack
Right.
of authority.
I agree, and you're working constructively with us. Thank you.
They're working on the holes. You know what Coinbase is trying to do? Coinbase sued the SEC. They're trying to get the emails that were being sent from Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren back and forth. They're trying to make those public. That would be amazing if that did happen. But anyways, any thoughts?
Is French Hill? Is he? He reminds me of Turkey Hill. Moose Tracks. This is
Turkey Hill French Villa. That would have been
Turkey. So Turkey Hill came out with Moose Tracks. If you are not here based in the United States, let me tell you, Moose Tracks. I don't know what's in there. Obviously, it's like a peanut covered in chocolate in the ice cream. It's got the crunch.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow.
And there's like caramel somewhere in there too. So
What's the plural word for moose? Is it meese?
it's
Anyways,
A moose
why are we
is
even
not
talking
the
about
animal?
mooses?
What a moose means is the animal, right?
Yeah, it's an animal.
yeah.
So you follow the track of an
Also,
animal.
moose is what you put in your hair.
Wow.
Also, moose is something you eat. Chocolate.
What about French vanilla
Okay, we're
Turkey
getting
Hill?
way too off topic.
So it'd be
okay.
like French Turkey
Anyways, all right. Rob, let's take a look at the rest of the markets. Has the rise in Bitcoin caused a rise in the other altcoins? Let's take a peek. Rob.
All right. So
Right. Someone's flushed.
this thing has not slowed down in the slightest. $58,219. This thing's moving.
Oh my God, guys, we're going all-time highs. Oh my God.
Honestly. Oh my
God.
57.4 to 58.2 in the span of 30 minutes. Hey, nothing to scoff at here. I mean, I'll take it. All right, so let's see what's going on in the altcoin market. And so we're seeing the biggest gainers: Celestia, Say, BitTensor, Jupiter, VeChain, all up over 10% on the 24 hours. And then rounding out, you got the Meme coins, Bonk, Brett. So I don't know. We typically like to highlight these meme coins when there's some volatility in Bitcoin. We know that they draw down quite substantially and also rebound pretty strong. Now, some of the losers, Pepe is really the only one down over 2%, and everything else is pretty flat. So not a lot of red in the market. Looks like a good day for the portfolio. And then any standouts here? Taking a look, Ethereum, not as much movement. We did see a little pump out of it yesterday. I saw a 5% gain for Ethereum, and that was in comparison to about a 2% on Bitcoin. So, ETH is looking was looking healthy yesterday, but slowed down today. And Solana up 4%, Cardano up 3%, still under 40 cents. Anything standing out here on the altcoins there?
Let me take a look here. XR, no. Cardano at 37 cents, probably. Just think Avalanche is so undervalued, $25.
Avalanche is falling out of favor from the retail kind of headline narratives, right? We saw a lot of buzz for Avalanche last bull market. It seemed like it was catching some really good momentum. I mean, we saw $60 Avalanche back in March. And I mean, it's fallen pretty hard from there, right? From $60 down to 25.
Over 50%.
The gaming narrative was holding pretty strong. But I feel like the gaming narrative, without that solid base of players actively using, I mean, we saw here's the thing. We saw what Toncoin did, right? The reason it rallied and has been sustained and it hasn't fallen off is because the users are on there using it. The users are out here playing the damn games. Avalanche, they got this beautiful network. They got this gaming, and the AVAX gaming. They got the big headline games on but people just aren't playing it, man.
But are they even live yet? I mean, Shrapnel's live, kind of, right?
They are
Is
live.
Off the grid
is not, but
that's a pretty big one, right?
Yeah, but they're also not even promoting as a blockchain. They're promoting as,
but some argue is a good thing, right?
It is. I think.
Do you think that's a good?
I think you need a little bit of both. I think you need people that are like, hey, look, we're blockchain. If you're crypto, come play with us. Our whole thing's about crypto. Make money, play games. But then you're also going to have games that have a different narrative. They're going to come out and be like, hey, you know what? Let's focus on the game. Buy some NFTs if you want. That's how we transfer skins. Retain ownership. When the sequel comes out, you'll keep the skins. You'll keep the guns. You'll keep your all of that. But at some point, there's going to be a big ass AAA franchise that goes all in.
Grand Theft Auto?
GTA 6. I mean, it has to be GTA 6. I think that GTA 6, first of all, broke down barriers. When I was in high school when we were playing GTA, that was the thing, bro. That was the thing that you weren't allowed.
Wait, GTA was there in the 50s?
Shut up. So when GTA came out, they had the top-down view, right? It wasn't the 3D open world concept. It was still open world, but it was that aerial helicopter view, and you had the hookers and the stealing cars, and all of these different things going on that at the time was taboo. When Grand Theft Auto came out, and you're talking about prostitutes and robbing and killing and shooting police, that was when you had to put in a blood code on Mortal Kombat.
Blood code.
Do you know that? So if you played the first Mortal Kombat, when you punch somebody, sweat flew off. But if you put the blood code in, then instead of it being sweat, it would be blood. Y'all want to hear a story? It's been a while.
Been a while. Story time.
You want to hear a story?
Sure.
Mortal Kombat story.
Mortal Kombat story. Okay. Wow. Story time with Rob. Poor kids. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So hear me out. So this is a adolescent Big Rob, right? This is medium rub. And I'm at the house, and my brother, he's older than me, and I'm like 14 years old, something like that. And I crack open my parents' bedroom door, and there's my brother sitting in my parents' room on the TV with the Super Nintendo playing Mortal Kombat. And that was too much gore for me. I wasn't allowed. And my brother, parents weren't home. He was like, "Come on in here, bro." I was like, little naive Rob. I was like, "What is this? What is this game?" And they're fighting. Is it like Street Fighter? And then I see him rip somebody's head off, and the spine is hanging down, and he had the blood coat on, and he punched somebody into the pits, and it changed everything. From that point forward, I was burning ants in the backyard with the magnifying glass. No bird was safe from the air-pumped BB gun, and that was the turning point for me.
Things are making a lot of sense now.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It was a moment for me, man. They tried to keep it from me. They tried to keep the gore away, but I walked in, and my brother let me in on this Mortal Kombat thing, and from then on, my life changed.
You know what I did at 14 when I sneaked into my parents' room? We had those black illegal boxes that gives you access to all the channels. All the channels.
Oh.
All the channels.
Oh, okay. That's where we're going. That's where the story.
So that's my story.
Also, in my parents' bedroom, my dad never, when he took off his tighty whities, he would leave them on the floor. His name is Mark. His nickname was Skid Mark. I'll leave it there.
What is
Remind me never to ever walk my dog on the road.
Not going to Robin's parents' house, that's for sure.
I never go to your parents' room.
Alt season. Is it here? Is it near? Is it far? Where are we? Let's talk about it. Impending altcoin season. Data shows it is closer than ever. Closer than Robin got to not burning that ant farm down. So altcoin market cap jumps nearly 5% in 24 hours, approaches $1 trillion while spreading speculation of an altcoin season. However, only 6 out of the top 50 altcoins have performed better than Bitcoin in the last 90 days. Let's take a look here, Robin. Of the 65, this is very interesting. Of the 65 coins, Robin, that are over $1 billion market cap, only 41.5% of them are positive this year. And take a look at which sectors are the ones that are the biggest winners. You have meme coins, AI coins, and exchange coins. The biggest winners so far in 2024 is Dog with Hat, almost 1,000%. So the 3 biggest gainers are meme coins, Pepe, Floki, and Whiff. Toncoin is up 208%. Render is up 40%. So in blue, you have the memes, or in blue, you have the AI. In green, you have the exchange coins. And in yellow, you have the memes. But does this surprise you, Robin, that we've seen massive rallies in Toncoin, Solana, ETH, Bitcoin, but only 41% of the coins that have $1 billion market cap or more are actually up for the year. Now, there's a lot of people, and I believe in this thesis as well, is that, and I put it in your video, you probably have some coins in your portfolio that are not going to make new all-time highs, right? Now, do you think that's going to be accelerated? Do you think maybe some like a Polygon will not make an all-time high? An Avalanche will not make an all-time high? Do you think there's going to be more coins that people are assuming will not only get back to previous all-time highs, but will exceed that? Do you think that number is shrinking, or do you think it's going to be the same we've seen it? And does this chart make you lean one way or the other?
The chart's interesting, right? Because is that going to be expanded upon and multiplied this coming bull market? Because if you would have replaced meme coins with DeFi last bull market, if you would have replaced AI with metaverse, and then you would have replaced exchange coins with, I don't know, ETH layer 2 scaling. Like, the thing is that sectors we didn't expect to be that run as hot as they did, just kept going, right? the metaverse plays never slowed down last bull market. Not until the bull market was over, right? We saw DeFi and ETH absolutely explode all bull market last go around. When metaverse was a discussion, we were like, this thing is not here yet. But then Meta changed their name, and it just kept going, and it just Axie Infinity and everything. Decentraland was, we were talking about it like we were moving there next week. And so my thing is
Our
that
second studio's in the same.
if the trend continues, if this bull market, we get the same thing that happened last bull market, nothing slows down, and the what has gained so far just keeps returning more and more, and maybe meme coins are 10x from where they're at now. Maybe that 60-cent SHIB, or excuse me, 60-cent Doge, that previous all-time high, maybe was it 70 cents? What was the all-time high?
70 some cents.
Yeah. 63 cents here. So maybe that 63-cent Doge, maybe it's a $6 Doge, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that if the trend continues from last bull market cycle, where what started hot ended hotter, and what started hot this time ends hotter.
Which leads me to I want to go a little deeper on this question. So we both agree that retail isn't here yet, correct? Like retail, right?
But here's the thing: who's got more money? No. Here's the real question: who's got more money? Retail, average guy, $300 throwing it in his paycheck, or is it Wall Street, hedge funds, venture capital, retirement accounts, and just institutions that have extra money to play around with, and just risk-taking investors that are from TradFi?
I think it's going to be more even than you think it is.
But who's got more money?
Well, obviously, if as a whole,
Yeah,
assuming they all invest, yeah, of course.
It's not even about all invest.
But
it's the same thing you can say for retail.
But I want
every person at the restaurant, is every person at the automotive shop, are they going to invest?
But I want you to just answer the question: is retail here yet? Have they been here in 2024?
But my answer is that question.
Your answer is like that guy who interviewed Andrew Tate.
My answer is that question.
Is like the dude that just interviewed Andrew Tate that couldn't answer the question.
That guy's haircut is so bad. So my answer to your question is another yes. And no, but let me explain. Let me explain.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that retail's not here. You're right.
Okay, so
retail will be here, but it's insignificant compared to the money that is coming from from investors.
So you don't think when retail finally comes, it's going to have any effect on the market?
I think what we'll see is that traditional money will double, triple, quadruple, 10x down from where they're at now. And those inflows that we saw from Bitcoin will ramp up, and it will diversify from Bitcoin to other assets. And don't for a second think that traditional money is going to only play with Bitcoin. You are wrong. When the internet, the bubble happened, yes, they invested in Amazon. Yes, they invested in Google, but they also invested in tons of crap projects. So if you think that traditional money is all of a sudden smart and wise, it won't invest in dumb stuff.
But they were all available on the stock exchange.
And you don't think that these products will be available as ETFs? You don't think that these products, you don't think that these companies will try to degen a little bit?
You just torpedoed my question. I was just trying to ask a simple question. So you say retail is not here, correct?
Let me tell you something. One last thing, okay? Did I torpedo your question? My father, with 20 years.
You've already had
20 years in the military. He was a torpedo man on a submarine. He was the one that he was a diver. He would work on the torpedo hatches on the outside and the inside. He was also nuclear certified, by the way. But and so, just like my father, I am also a torpedo man, psychologically. And so I will torpedo your question.
Are you okay?
Yes, 100%.
What about the moose truck too?
And that is not, I'm not fabricating that story. My dad literally was a torpedo. And so retail, insignificant this bull market. I'm not saying that they don't have money. I'm not saying that they're not going to move prices. I'm not saying that they won't go in and invest in some meme coins. But what I am saying is that at the large piece of the pie, let's just say, okay, this bull market, how many trillions of dollars come in? We're at $2.5 trillion market cap on crypto in its entirety, 1.5 on Bitcoin. What does the entirety of the crypto market look like in a year and a half? What is the total number?
Let me ask you
We're
a question.
at 2.5.
What do you think the entirety of the market is?
The entirety of the market?
Okay, I'm going to avoid your question, and I'm going to speak to the camera here. I want to speak to you watching, since Robin doesn't want to partake in this. My question is, once retail does get here, okay, once they do get here, are they going to, where the hell did that chart go? Are they going to, look at the coins? No, it's not here, Rocco. I lost it. I don't know where the hell it went. Are they going to look at, what is already pumped, what is going to be pumped? Like Robin said, what ran hot will run hotter. And if so, you need to be looking at memes, AI coins, and exchange tokens, because those are the only ones that have been up over the last 6 months, first half of this year. Or B, are they going to come in and see undervalued, right? I talked about this in one of my videos I made, is the perception of, oh my God, it's down 80% from its all-time high. If it only gets back to its all-time high, it doesn't even have to make a new all-time high. If I buy ICP at $8, it went up to $700 before, it can go up there again. There's that faulty mentality of thinking it's going to get to the next, to its last all-time high, which is not going to happen for a majority of coins. But retail, the ones that aren't in here now, have been in here during a bear market, learning, studying, watching shows like ours, getting information. They're going to look at charts and say, wow, this thing is a top 20 token. It was at $4. It's at 40 cents. That's a 10X. Let me put money in it. Or are they going to look at what's already been trending and put money in that?
You have a very narrow view on this coming liquidity. And all I'm saying, what I was trying to propose to you, is that we're at $2.5 trillion market cap for the crypto. And I do think that we'll get to 10 trillion, maybe $15 trillion in crypto market cap this bull market. And I think that as far as a piece of the pie, I think that we're talking about 80% of that money is coming from traditional finance through Wall Street, through TradFi companies. That's where the money is going to come from. And so if we're sitting here focusing on what the plumber and the waitress are buying, and the torpedo man are buying, and you're trying to predict where the market is going to go, your vision is too narrow. You know, it's like you're about to jump into a fight, and there's a couple people fighting here, but yet there's a man with an assault rifle pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Is that, like, what is about to happen is there's going to be a massacre when it comes to the liquidity. It's going to be a massacre when it comes to what smart money, or what money is coming in. And it's going to be traditional finance with all of their trillions of dollars, with their, and don't think for a second that they're smart money and they don't like to take risk. All of these bubbles have happened in our markets because of irresponsible TradFi money, companies, banks, leveraging themselves, buying crap they shouldn't. And I think that the same thing is going to happen here. TradFi money's coming in with their trillions of dollars. It's going to dwarf any retail interest. And that is going to be the narrative for the next bull market.
The narrative now is that we're done. Make sure to come back tomorrow. Magic is having, I think he ate some bad food, so he wasn't able to join us. I know yesterday I said he's coming to join us today, but make sure to come back tomorrow. Will Bitcoin be over 60K? Maybe. Real quick, yes or no? Will Bitcoin be over 60K tomorrow when we start the show? No? Rocco?
65.
Still?
Still.
I think we will be over 60K. I do. I'm over 60. You're under 60. We'll find out tomorrow. Rocco! Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you. If you haven't watched our Near Protocol video we put out yesterday, go watch it. It's a good one. Updated insight and price prediction on Near Protocol. We got an ICP video coming out tomorrow. We love you guys.
Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.